Yeah, the only people that Matt Gaetz has been getting bills passed for himself is his own wallet. If there's an opportunity for him to make some money, he'll do it. I mean, you're absolutely right. I can't believe that the Democratic Party is not spending the money in the way that you just described. It seems to me like it makes the most sense to go after the most vulnerable red seats than to go after these stalwarts.
But make no mistake about it. If we support somebody that wins in a red district, I can guarantee you the very next day, Jamie Harrison's going to be giving them a call and saying, "Welcome to the team."
Right. Which is fine. Which is fine, right? Isn't it?
That's right. Welcome to the team.
Yeah.
But understand, hey, Jamie, how about you help us? How about you put No Dem Left Behind on the red to blue list so we can use that money to find these candidates and support these candidates? You understand that, we had candidates that got no support. They didn't get a penny from the Democratic Party, not a penny. If it wasn't for us, they got nothing. And that's wrong.
So why hasn't Jamie Harrison done that? Why has the chairman of the Democratic Committee, or is that what it's called? Yeah. Why is he not contacting you?
These people don't know how to fight. They don't know how to fight. That's a problem. Look, if all you want to do is support blue candidates in blue states that are always winning, then the best case scenario, 50-50 with Kamala Harris being the tie-breaking vote. But if we want to be able to make it to where we don't have to worry about Joe Manchin and Sinema, then let's flip some red seats blue and let's make Manchin and Sinema irrelevant. We can do the same thing in the House.
Exactly.
We don't want to lose the House. We want to expand the leadership that we have in the House. But we can do that if they help us.
And right now, the way the districts are being gerrymandered, it looks like the Republicans are just going to win by default because, that's the way they've been gerrymandering everything. If we go after some of their vulnerable seats and some of their vulnerable districts and flip them, then they won't win. There's a way to do that.
Exactly. And I will tell you, the mere fact that we're watching this actually take place and nobody's stepping up. I mean, there is an African-American, and I forget the state, an African-American who wants to run for re-election, but due to the gerrymandering, they literally cut out the African-American community away from her.
Yes, so in Texas, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, that is pure racism. They're basically
100%.
They're stacking the deck to make sure that the white people always win, and that's
and here's the kicker on that. These two seats, these two new districts that Texas got because it has a bigger Latino population than the last time. So they've grown their
95%.
Yeah, so they've grown their minority community, and those seats are meant to represent those minority communities. The Texas GOP has gone out and carved them out. So those two seats going to belong to the white people down there.
Yeah,
it's just
growth.
Yeah, ridiculous.
The growth in Texas is 95% Hispanic.
Yeah.
95%. And yet you're going to carve the Hispanic people out to make sure that only the white people can win. And we've seen that. I will tell you, I live in an area in Logan County, West Virginia, where one of our jackaloons, who was basically in office during the last time that they drew the lines, he actually drew it around the supporters of his opponent to cut his opponent out. You can drive up an area where I'm from called Whitman Creek Holler. If you live on the left side of the road, then you vote for the Logan delegate. If you live on the right side of the road, you vote for the delegate in the next county over.
So this is this is happening all across the country, this gerrymandering and this rigging. It's so racist and it's so disgusting that it amazes me that anyone would vote for the Republican Party, but yet they will, and they do. Do you think that there's an element within it's a tough question. I'm just going to ask it the way it is. Do you think that white people just are generally behind this idea that they want to maintain their primacy, their control over America, and will do whatever it takes, no matter what, to hold on to power?
Well, guess what? Guess what Donald Trump showed us? Donald Trump showed us that, after we elected an African-American twice to the highest seat in the land, Donald Trump reminded us that we still have a lot of racism in this country. And now they're blatantly obvious with their racism. They don't care. And that's just the way that it is. And that's exactly what our problem in our country is. Donald Trump made racism come to where it didn't feel the need to hide anymore. And that's what we have in this country. And it's a really sad thing.
It is incredibly sad. And it's not, do people in those areas realize how that's going to affect the America's standing in the world, that they're not, you can't stay America and still be racist. Like, you can't, everything that America stands for is about equality and freedom and opportunity. It's not about racism and self-protection. And the minute we do that, we lose leadership.
As long as they feel that they can stand and go, we're number one.
Yeah.
First off, we ain't number one in anything.
Not anymore.
Except the negative categories.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I try to tell people all the time, what they have over in Europe is what we should have. 33 out of the 34 first world countries enjoy universal health care. Yeah. We're the only ones that don't, but we're the richest country on earth. I mean, United States of America is a country of greed. And the truth is that, we're in that area where eventually we're going to fall. We're either going to fall or we're going to get our heads out of our fourth point of contacts, which is our ass, and we're going to start doing the right things.
Well, we certainly are in the battle of, this is no doubt a battle between, China's rising and whether, America falls down completely, or whether it presents a battle, a challenge to China is what this is all about. And, I don't think becoming more like China is going to help us. Becoming more dictatorial, more autocratic, less tolerance of people is going to help us. That's not going to be a strategy. Turning away from what China's like is a much smarter strategy for America going forward.
We don't need to consider like we're at war with China. I mean, at the end of the day, there's things that China does that we need. In 1990, I was stationed in Germany and they had high-speed rail. In America today, we don't have high-speed rail. Right. I mean, that's garbage. We're talking about job creation. We're talking about all kinds of things that we desperately need. We need those things. We don't have them. Other countries do. And
then you've got an infrastructure bill that's waiting to get passed to build all those things, broadband, bridges, whatever. The party that's passing it is fighting with themselves. They're not even fighting against the Republicans. They're fighting amongst themselves about what could be approved. I mean, it's
we have Joe Manchin. We have Joe Manchin in West Virginia, who is an absolute. He's garbage. Let me tell you something. West Virginia is 50th out of 50th in terms of infrastructure. Joe Manchin is absolutely worth $8 million. He gets over $1 million a year from his son's energy companies. His whole entire family is corrupt. And of course, they're going to allow us to go without. We need broadband. Our teachers are not even assigning homework to children anymore because the moment they get on the bus, they no longer have any connectivity. If you want to do your homework in West Virginia, you got to go sit in the parking lot at the McDonald's so you can get their Wi-Fi and you can do your homework. So teachers aren't even given homework anymore.
Wow, that's incredible to hear. I didn't realize that's the case. You mentioned Manchin there. He's, amongst other things, I think today it was revealed that he was the single biggest receiver of money from fossil fuel companies in all of the Senate and the Congress. I mean, he was number one amongst everybody in terms of the amount of money he gets from them. I was just saying that he's the leading receiver of money from the fossil fuels and coal industry, that he's got this money that's come from his family in all these coal and fossil fuel sectors, that he does Zoom calls with billionaires on a regular basis. And I didn't realize this until AOC put this out, that he does weekly huddles with Exxon.
Yeah, Joe Manchin is dirty. Joe Manchin is bought and paid for. Joe Manchin is he is the horrible politician that is bought and for. He's the definition of crooked politician is what he is. He doesn't care about West Virginia. His family is millionaires, and the average pay in West Virginia is $26,000 a year. Joe Manchin has us at 50th, and he wants to say that he doesn't want people to get the entitlement mentality. Nobody in West Virginia has the entitlement mentality. People in West Virginia are poor. Joe Manchin has been entitled to daggone take from the people and give them nothing in return. He does nothing for us. And it's sad. And the thing is I'm at the point now where I'm like, I don't even care. Let a Republican beat him because he's no different than a Republican. So,
yeah, at least we know where we stand. He's basically a Republican. I mean, it seems to me that, he's allowing children to basically sink into poverty. I mean, if this bill doesn't get passed, all that great work that the Democrats did in terms of figuring out how to lift all these families out of poverty and children out of poverty. And this man doesn't seem to care. This man seems to think it's okay to negotiate this away because his Chamber of Congress or Commerce friends tell him that that's what they want.
And because we got a whole bunch of people that just refuse to educate themselves, they don't realize, the child tax credit that they give every single month between $250 and $300 per child has elevated 340,000 children out of poverty in West Virginia. And oh, by the way, that's something that the Democrats want to make always, forever. And Joe Manchin and them are going to end it at the end of this year. So what? So now everybody gets to go back to poverty. If you want to do something and help people in this country, let's help the elderly. Let's help the addicted. Let's help the sick. Let's help the children.
Absolutely.
If you can't put them as your priorities, then you need to get another job. Joe Manchin is a greedy bastard.
Well said. You're absolutely right. And he's not only a greedy bastard. This is where he lives in when he's in D.C., a $700,000 luxury yacht. They call it a houseboat. It's not a houseboat. That's a yacht, by the way.
It's a yacht.
And it's $700,000. This guy's not really living a public servant's lifestyle. That's for sure.
Yeah. Everybody in West Virginia is poor. But yet Joe Manchin, who's representing everybody in West Virginia, has a $700,000 yacht, has multiple homes that are worth, $1 million. He's a horrible human being, and his family is horrible. His daughter destroyed the accreditation of a college because they lied and used pressure to give her a master's degree that she didn't deserve. Absolute garbage.
And she's involved in some pharma company, isn't she? Or she was involved in some pharma company.
She was Mylan Pharmaceuticals. She had a $17,000 a year payday, and then she jacked up the EpiPens. And
EpiPens, that's right.
Yeah. And she made the EpiPens have to be purchased in 2. And then her mother went around and lobbied to make 13 states mandatory to have all this on hand. So the whole family's dirty. The whole family is garbage.
And we're allowing this guy to basically run away with, the president's agenda this year. He's busy trashing it left, right, and center. What we're going to be left with is a fraction of what was initially intended.
Yeah, he has sold his soul. Joe Manchin, when he says, hey, look, I leave my door open for anybody. He don't care about anybody. He wants his door open so these lobbyists can come in there and can grease his pocket. He's a sack of shit.
Yeah, well, there you go. I think you're absolutely right. That's exactly what he is. And, his cohort there, Cinema, is no better. Who's been grifting off these private equity funds now that are funding her little exercises and also Bill Gates. These are the wrong kinds of people for the Democratic Party.
We have to stop allowing these people to get to Washington, D.C. and then, allow them to get bought and paid for by these lobbyists. At one time, Cinema was listed. She was known as the AOC on the Senate side. She had a reputation of being a fighter for the people, and now she sold her soul. I don't know why we have to sit and wait until 2024 for her raggedy ass. They should be recalled.
There should be a recall opportunity, or at least a way for the Democratic Party to, send them back because they're just corrupt. They're corrupt.
People, if you're not going to represent your people, then what are you doing? You're not supposed to go there. Your job, you are a representative. You don't represent yourself. You represent your people. And these people have failed to do that. And we should stop them. There needs to be a way to be able to remove these jackaloons.
Yeah, there really should be a way. That's these two are tearing apart the promise that the Biden presidency had offered us. Hopefully they'll be able to sort it out at some point in the future. I marvel at this particular picture because talk about a runway elevator or whatever it is, but it's they Manchin and Cinema together in an elevator in the Senate. Maybe they could just go up and never come back down, or where it is they were going. Not wishing any harm on them, just saying metaphorically. Let's go back to school boards a little bit because I watch with absolute horror what's going on with school boards right now. You've got these activists, actors. I don't know what they are. I'm sure they're parents as well, and I'm sure there are people who absolutely believe that their school boards are taking their kids' education in the wrong direction. But the way they're doing it is so horrific. Going into these school boards, challenging everybody, and then, inciting violence, threatening to attack school board members, stalking them, doxing them. This is not what needs to be happening with our schools and our kids' education.
Well, first off, our education, it needs to be revamped. And I spent 4 years in the classroom after I retired from the military. And the truth is that our schools teach the exam. They teach the exam so that the kids can pass the exam. Then it makes the teachers say, we did it. And the boards of education say, we did it. So they need to fix that, because we need to start teaching these kids critical thinking and things that can benefit them in life. So that's one thing. Now, on the second thing, you got these parents coming in there. And of course, they're griping about masks and mandates and things like that. At the end of the day, we should do everything in our power to protect these children. And, the sad part about it is that a lot of these parents are absolutely clueless. We have 760,000 dead Americans, and these people still won't wake up. These children are not vaccinated, so we have got to do everything in our power to protect them. And anybody out there that's pushing to not require masks, to not require vaccines, they need to be made to go and look at these kids on these ventilators. I've been saying this for a while, because we have shootings that happen all the time. We have school shootings that have become absolutely normal in America. And my thoughts is that the only way that we're going to fix that is that every time there is a shooting in a school, before you clean up anything, you make the members of Congress from that state have to get on a damn plane and fly there and walk through that school and look at those bodies of those children, where they see you could stick your fist through the daggone back, the hole that's left from the back blast. Maybe they have to watch those things, and maybe then they will go, you know what? We've got to stop this. We've got to stop these school shootings. We have to stand up to the NRA. Until we get our elected officials that refuse to get sold out by Big Pharma and the NRA and Big Energy, we're never going to change.
Richard, I've got to put in a break, and then we'll be right back. Hi, folks, it's Zev. Thanks for supporting Narrative. And here's a question for you. Why are 97% of chickens served in the United States dipped in chlorine? Yes, chlorine, believe it or not. The answer is simple. It's because Big Food doesn't have the same quality standards as the family farm. That's why you need moinkbox.com. With Moink, you get the highest quality meat you've ever tasted while supporting real family farms. Moink delivers grass-fed and grass-finished beef and lamb, pastured pork and chicken, and wild-caught Alaskan salmon directly to your door, helping family farms become financially independent outside of big agriculture. Their animals are raised outdoors, their fish swim wild in the ocean, and Moink meat is free of antibiotics, hormones, sugar, and all the other junk you find prepackaged in the meat aisle. I love Moink, and I know you will too. Moink meat is so delicious. If you want to get the absolute best quality while supporting the little guy, I recommend you get to Moink right now. Join the Moink movement today. Go to moinkbox.com/narrative right now, and listeners to this show get free bacon for a year. Free bacon for a year. Get that. That's 1 year of the best bacon you'll ever taste, but for a limited time. Spelled Moink, MOINK, box.com/narrative. That's NARATIV, the way we spell narrative. That's moinkbox.com/narrative. Richard, you're back with us on Narrative. I got to say, your passion is great, and your rage is great. I mean, you've got anger there, and I think it's important to get that anger tapped into, because, I didn't even know that stuff about Jamie Harrison. I didn't know that was going on. I had no idea that you guys have these candidates and you're willing to fight within these districts that are viable, and you're not getting support from the Democratic Party.
Not a bit. And that's so sad, because we have phenomenal candidates. But once again, and I don't have a problem with that, but, if our candidates are successful, make no mistake about it, Jamie Harrison and them will be opening the doors. Come on in.
Does this include Florida, who's running against Rubio, Dennings? They're not supporting Dennings?
Well, no, they'll support Demings. They'll support Tim Ryan. But, we're talking about candidates out there in these red districts. Tim Ryan right now, I don't even think has an opponent, but he's a phenomenal candidate. I hope he wins. We're happy to support him. We're happy to support Val Demings. This is the first time that No Dem Left Behind has stepped into Senate races.
Okay.
So we normally just focused on House races.
Right.
But now we're opening it up.
So we need to get, more of this. Maybe we'll call Jamie and we'll ask him. We'll ask him for you. We'll see if he comes on the show. Maybe he'll tell us what he thinks about it, because it is interesting that this is not happening. But it also indicates to me that, this theme that keeps coming up whenever we talk to anybody is that the Democrats are just failing at a message. They are not delivering a home run with their message, and they've got a lot of promise. I mean, they're actually fighting for the good stuff. They're fighting for democracy. They're fighting for freedom. They're fighting for equality, childcare, infrastructure, everything you'd want. They've got all the material there, but it's not coming through. Instead, the noise of Donald Trump and the GOP is just everywhere. You just can't escape it.
No, you can't. And it's sad because, I still see people with their Trump flags and all this. And, I'm sitting there every single day, something new comes out that shows, now we know that members of Congress participated in the planning sessions of the failed coup that took place. We know, Donald Trump was directly involved in many things that went on that were absolutely negative. You just have to hope. I do believe that people are waking up. I do believe that there's Republicans that are stepping up. The Lincoln Project is Republicans, basically that said, look, we're not going to allow our party to continue going down this path. We just have to hope that there's enough people out there that are willing to stand up and do what's right. I believe that if Donald Trump runs in 2024, he will get destroyed. He will get destroyed. But the downside of that is that, I can say that he's probably going to automatically start saying that it was stolen a year before the election.
Yeah,
Donald Trump
already is.
Donald Trump absolutely would have no issues at all if people started murdering people on his behalf, because Donald Trump wants to be a dictator, and that's all he's ever wanted to be, and it's all he cares about.
What worries me is not whether he will win, because I don't think he'll win. What worries me is whether Joe Biden will get to be elected, because they are going to rig their state votes to such an extent that they'll have these alternative people there to cast their votes at the last minute when it comes to whatever the process is called. I'm forgetting the name. But the same thing happened on January 6th. The idea that you'd have these contested election results is a real possibility because of the voter suppression and these voter rules that are being implemented in the states.
Well, we have basically about 3 years, to absolutely educate as many people as possible. And hopefully people are waking up, and hopefully by 2024, Donald Trump is in jail and he's not running for office. Hopefully by 2024, members like Marjorie Trainwreck Green and Lauren Boebert and Mo Biggs and Madison Cawthorn, hopefully they are in jail for their treason. And then maybe, just maybe, that sends the message to other people that says, you know what? We don't want to play these games. We don't want to play these underhanded tactics to where, we can try to steal an election. If it's not done legally, then I don't care. Treason.
You're absolutely right. 100% right. Is it true that you were a Trump supporter at some point in your evolution?
I never really cared for the things that Donald Trump was saying. But, at the end of the day, in 2016, 2015, Donald Trump was talking about the coal fields of West Virginia.
That's right,
nobody has ever spoke about the coal fields of West Virginia since John F. Kennedy.
That's correct.
I'm looking around, and even though I'm retired military, 90% of my family are coal. They all are coal miners. And you know what? I'm like, he's the one that's promising to help them out. So you know what? Where I come from in the coal fields, it
makes total sense.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hold my nose and I'm gonna support it. But a week later, I said, my gosh, what a mistake! And I've been busting his ass ever since.
So at least it's possible. It's possible to move some people from the Donald Trump aisle to the other aisle, and hopefully we'll get there. Yeah,
there's a lot of people that are waking up.
You're certainly encouraging me a lot tonight, and it's great to hear from you. I know you've got to run for your own show, but tell people where they can find you and watch your show, because they can come from here and go directly to yours. Where's your show on?
Well, I'm on Facebook every night, just Richard Ojeda, and I got the check mark. I'm on Twitter, and that's Ojeda #4 America. I have a YouTube channel called Airborne, AIRBORNE. So go there, subscribe to that page, and I light fires every night. That's what I do. You
sure do. I like your fire lighting. I'm very encouraged by it. So
since this was, but hey, I can come on again. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Would love to have you back on, Richard Ojeda. Someone who should be getting your support as you're thinking about where to put your money this year or next year for the Democratic elections. So tell me the organization again.
Yes, it's No Dim Left Behind. And you can go to nodimleftbehind.com and you guys can support. Help us to be able to go in these red rural districts and pick a fight.
And you know what my first call tomorrow is going to be? It's going to be to Jamie Harrison, because I want to know what the hell's going on with that. So we'll find out. What's going on with all of that tomorrow. And Richard, enjoy your show. We'll see you again another time here on Narrative. Appreciate your time here with us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Have a good night. It's Richard Ojeda. What a fun show. A really interesting, passionate guy. Clearly knows what he's seriously talking about there. And some of the things he was telling us tonight really, really struck me. I could not believe that the Democratic Party as a party are not thinking about those narrow swing states or the swing districts in those red states where they can really win. And I believe that what he's saying is absolutely true. I think that the Democrats have got some good things to run on, but if they're only going after these big name senators in Kentucky or, we're not going to get to where we need to get to in 24 and in 22. So that's the news. So that's the show. I'll be back tomorrow night. I have no idea what. Maybe Jamie Harrison will come on the show tomorrow night. But until then, please support us on Patreon. It's patreon.com/narrative. Thanks to our sponsors tonight, Mac Weldon, who's our new sponsors. You're going to see them transform my wardrobe over the next few weeks, which hopefully will get rid of some of these black t-shirts. And also Moink, the great Moink box, which delivers fresh food, meat specifically, to your homes on a monthly basis. So that's the show. Thank you for watching Narrative. Have a good night, everybody. Narrative is made possible by viewers like you. Join today and support truly independent journalism at patreon.com/narrative. That's patreon.com/narrative.